Good morning, everyone. It's time for a rapid game, and I've got an opponent rated bang on 1600. And are we going Danish? Let's go Danish. This is what I've been playing recently. The centre game accepted. Offer the second pawn. This is the Danish Gambit, and that's accepted. And now I'm going for the full Danish with bishop c4, and they've declined that. Okay, now semi-Danish d6, and I believe this is the move. I think someone commented as well that knight takes here is also perfectly good. And there's actually an issue if knight f6 now we can push. Pawn takes, yeah. Knight takes here, pawn push to e5. If takes, then we have bishop f7 check. The king can't take because the queens are facing off. So the king, but then do you fall into... No, he doesn't, because there's a pawn in the way here. Right, there is a pattern, there is a kind of a refutation of the Danish, but it wouldn't come from that line, which involves bishop takes here, I think, king can take, queen takes, and then the bishop comes out to b4 with check, forcing the queen to come back to d2, trade off. So you both lose a bishop, and the material ends up equal, but and it's kind of a balanced game. So it's one way that black can restore equity in the game. Okay, so my opponent's having a think. Okay, we've seen this before. He's trying to trade off bishops. This just doesn't look sensible because they've got c6. Queen b3. Then if they take, I recapture on there. With, eyes on the board. Knight blocks and c6. The problem is then I've got my knight under attack and my knight is technically pinned. But my knight could come back to here. Then if bishop takes, I can recapture. Even queen d3 or queen b3, both defend the bishop. Queen d3, then the bishop's not actually pinned. But then queen b3, if I take, I win a pawn this way. And he either has to block with a minor piece, or we have that and force a trade of queens. Dropping back isn't... no, it is an option actually, because I can also recapture with the queen. Then I'm looking at b7. You see those times, I'm going to play that move, right? Those times when you start a line of thought and then you see yourself shutting down the line of thought before it's finished. That's really something that I'm working on. It's something we're really working on in Chess Bootcamp Live as well. If you're not familiar with Chess Bootcamp Live, then we basically run group training sessions. It's an alternative to getting chess lessons or studying all on your own. Okay, but what I don't have here is this recapture option now. Okay, so my reminder to make a YouTube video. Good, thank you for that. Okay, e5 hits the knight, pawn takes. We trade queens, black loses castling rights. He's up a pawn, losing castling rights is a thing. What if this first, there. Okay, I take bishop, f takes. That leaves him a little bit open on this side of the board. Then I push e5. The knight either has to move. So let's say knight can't. Oh yeah, knight can't move there if we've traded bishops, or there, or there, could go there. There. No, he can't. Right, let's go down that route. I'm conscious of the clock. And now if pawn takes, yes, he wins a pawn. So he'll actually be up 2 pawns. But he's going to lose castling rights in a wide open board. Only dark square bishops on the board. And he's got doubled isolated pawns. So I'm going to go for the trade. Right, he has 2 extra pawns, and so he's got 1 extra on this side, he's got 1 extra on this side. Now, what I want to castle quickly, so I'm thinking my next move should be a knight move. This pins his knight, but then I've got the option of, yeah. Okay, hang on. So this pins the knight and gives me an option of long castles with an immediate check, which I like. This attacks the pawn. But then he'll probably push e4 and attack my knight, and I can't simply take it because it's defended. So I'm going to go for the pin. Pin first and then this, and then he doesn't have that option because I can take. A little bit of calculation. Now I am down 2 pawns. So what we need here is activity, we need speed. No point trading my bishop for this knight at all. Drop the bishop down here as a thought, go after the a7 pawn. Certainly developing my knight. Okay, that's not bad. So one slight downside for my opponent is a bit of speed of getting the rooks into the game now. Knight f3, attack this. I think knight f3 is just good all round, isn't it? If he attacks me, I can take with a threat of an ongoing capture. With check. There, pawn attacks, I take, he takes, I take, with check, he must recapture. Nothing gained by yours truly. There, pawn attacks. Then I can come in here, yeah, that's fine. Because remember, this knight is pinned by the rook, can't move. So this pawn is actually hanging. Now. And if pushes, I have this. That's 2 attackers on the knight. One of 2 defenders, one of which I can eliminate potentially. But this is definitely, this is a sharp position. This is a tricky position, and the imbalances in the game are very pronounced, right? Okay, I think that may be sensible. So rook he1, adding a second attacker on this pawn. He pushes, I also have knight d4. Looking at this pawn, he really shouldn't expect to be able to hang on to these pawns forever, particularly with the state of my rooks. So the imbalances, yes, I'm 2 pawns down, but I am castled, so I've got relative king safety. King might want to go into a light square at some point. I've got beautiful rooks. Okay. Now I can win a pawn back. Which I think makes sense. If he takes rook in there, and I don't see any way he can defend that pawn. So I think it's a free pawn. I think I should bag it. Leave me 1 pawn down, and now, how does he defend this? King can't come in to defend. No rook can defend, bishop can't possibly defend, and the knight is on the wrong colour to move and defend a light square. Because when the knight moves, knight will be on a light square and is therefore looking only at dark squares. So, looks like 2 for the price of 1. Or 2 for free, to be honest. Now, it feels as though the momentum has shifted in my favour. So my opponent thought for 28 seconds on that move. Now he didn't have to take, so I'm threatening this, but there he's got knight recaptures. If I take this one first, he's got the other knight recaptures. It's sometimes the benefit of having your knights paired in a knight formation. On the other hand, the other benefit of having them paired like this is because they're on opposite colours, so they do control a lot of squares right between them. They control all of these, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Ooh. Oh. Okay, so he's attacking my rook, and we have bishop tension here. I can play my rook to here. That is not a bad move. Now, the other thing is that if bishop takes, it comes with check, which is an annoyance. If I take his bishop, he takes my rook. I end up with bishop and knight and a rook against a knight and two rooks. That is a resourceful move by my opponent now. So I can't go here or here or here or here with my rook. Now if I play rook a5 and he just pushes b6, I still can't drop down to here because bishop takes, again, comes with check. And this was the benefit of having my king on the wrong colour for the bishop. I take bishop, he takes rook. I come here. That is a very resourceful move. I take pawn, he takes bishop with check. Nothing gained. I come here, he takes bishop with check. I come here and give up the exchange, but with a nice centralised bishop. Also, his king is kind of out of the game because he can't encroach onto the d file, and this rook is out of the game for as long as the king's out of the game. So having my bishop on here makes a lot of sense. I take there, bishop comes back, so we're giving up the exchange there. But he, you see, here he goes there, and then I've simply got to get off that rank, and then I fall to that with check. So there's a couple of options. I can grab a pawn. Nope, I can't. He takes with check. Right. Bishop here. Then he's even got takes pawn with check. Will he do that? Sorry, takes pawn with an attack on the rook. So that takes rook. That's not too bad. What's the alternative? Is f4 even an idea? No, because he takes rook, I recapture, then I lose my bishop anyway. So I'm thinking this is the move. He's got this, but that only gives up a pawn, because then this rook will move, possibly with tempo. Can't go there. So I think he's going to take the rook. And if I recapture, I'm then attacking this and the pawn, but they'll probably have to play this. Takes, he's going to go, yeah. He's going to do this. So right now I'm down an exchange and a pawn. Now, dropping my bishop back I think makes sense, because it stops the king from coming forward. So king can't come forward, he can't come here or here or here, and that locks this rook out of the game. Takes. He's still got 3 pawn islands. He's got 3 pawn islands now, so I'm dropping back. So I think that was an excellent move by my opponent there, and one that I missed. So this was the sequence, right? I thought I'm getting 2 pawns here. What I failed to see was this alignment issue with the king and the bishop on the same square, and the discovery. Oh, he's gone for he's traded his bishop for my knight, and that's an interesting development, because look at the board. Look at all the open lines, right? Having my bishop means that his king is still trapped. In fact, his king has no legal moves. Yes, I can see why you might want to trade off. But do I now get this pawn back? Not today. Right, now. I can drop my bishop here, stops that pawn progressing. Attacks this one. Is it critical though? Should I bring my rook up? No, I have to get my rook back up. Yeah, I really want my rook on this file, but he's going to keep doing this. Okay, well, I'll keep doing that. And he doesn't want to go for a draw. Oh. And Kingy escapes, look. That's cunning and resourceful again. Bishop here stops the king coming round this pawn. If I if I attack the rook, rook moves, I hit the king. Can't go there. Can't block g5. Now I have my rook back on the file. I can chuck in another check. I'd love to play that. So he can't go here or here. So he's got 2 moves, right? If he comes forwards, I have this, possibly winning a pawn. If he goes back to here, he's back in the same position he was before. Okay, I'm going to chuck my bishop in there. Lift king. He wants to do this. Maybe I shouldn't have my bishop blocking that pawn. Expecting this move again. I do want to keep my bishop on this diagonal, don't I? Okay, f3 keeps it on light squares. With that push as well, he's also going to defend his pawns to some extent. It means he can defend the rearmost pawn with a rook if he wants to. No, he can't. No, he can't. So is this a thought? An attack here. I feel like I need to centralise my king. Question is, where does he want to go? Like this, that can fall to pawn pushes. The big weakness is this pawn. This is a thought as well. He has to go back here. Um, it's a good tactical lesson, I think. Going back to here, so you can see I stopped calculating at this point. All I said was, he can't defend that pawn. And it turned out he could. With a double attack. That's a discovery and an attack, so okay. So back goes the rook, like we kind of thought. I'm going to play this. Now that's going to come with a discovery against his pawn. That's another double attack. He might move the king out. We could end up with the same kind of position going on. Could offer a cheeky draw at this point, but I think it would be cheeky. Attack rook, he has to come back to here to save the pawn. Right, his king has now escaped. And now if I do this, his rook doesn't have a square to defend the pawn. So, okay, and he's seen that, obviously. Now both of his rooks can get into the action. His bishop there even a thought. This just feels right somehow. I think his plan is going to be he wants to double his rooks and he wants to penetrate the 7th rank, okay, or my second. Alright. I want to be targeting that square, it's quite an important square. I can go here. I've always got this. Actually, covering that square as well is not a bad thing either, so that's going to discourage him from trying to force trades on the open file. Also prevents this pawn from going forwards on this. Actually, this one could. Okay, well, that's not really an issue, but I've definitely got my work cut out here. I guess I can come up with something cunning. Ah, it's Egypt. Maz. Okay, he's done a similar thing, just get the rook on the 2nd rank. Push. He could go there. Then I just push my... No, I want to keep my king here, where it can be protected to some degree. Is he thinking about this? Do I even just do this? It's a thought. That is not playable. It's a kind of tortoise position now, isn't it? It's just like brace for impact. He'll probably just push there or push there. Oh, for a cheeky draw. See, if my opponent's running out of time and it's time for his lunch, then which could be in Egypt. Is it 3 hours ahead? Definitely a cheeky draw, that. Cheeky draw off phase declined. Of course he has. Okay. Push. Then he goes 1 or 2. I can capture en passant, but then maybe not the best thing. Here. Not good. But maybe rook here. So you still can't drop down to there as well. So rook b4. Can't push that pawn because rook takes. Can't push this because he comes in there. But maybe it's not end of world, huh? Alrighty, interesting. To take or not to take? It's an isolated pawn. Takes, probably takes, or if takes, rook. I think he'd probably take this A. See, my king is in some trouble because of the occupied D file, so my king is stuck on this side of the board, right? However, I don't really see a way around that. I'm going to take. It's probably not the best thing. I think what I need to do now is just make my opponent have to win. I think pawns on dark squares so that my bishop can defend. And hope for a sneaky tactic. But I think, look, you see how he's put absolutely everything on light squares. All his stuff is on light squares to neutralise my bishop. He's ghosted my bishop. Okay, I have this, then I could end up with back rank issues, could I? I've got bishop here, that's a thought. If this is intention, I think it's operation get pawns on dark squares is the next step. This bishop's doing an important job right now of protecting the d2 square. I don't want to move it if I don't have to. h4, so that my rearmost pawn will be defended by my bishop. Then my bishop... Okay, he's attacking this pawn. Yeah. Right, then this defends. We've only had 40 moves. We've only had 2 moves without a capture, so we're in for a long day. I have any hope of winning this. But now at least I'm out of the way of that pawn as well. I've got king here. He's not thinking of coming here because then I just do that. So question is it h4 or f4 now? Or cheeky check time? Or cheeky bishop d4, disconnecting his rooks. Misa like this. Misa like this. And also the bishop is now on a defended square. It's also looking after my weakest pawn. Okay, well, king c2 anyway. Hits at the ruka. If check now, no. Okay, has to defend this. Nothing's defending that, and nothing's defending that. There are options, guys. I don't hold out much hope. But, okay, I have this, which is that both defends the pawn and attacks that. Now, if I come here, better to have my pawns defended by, well, the lowest value piece in a way. So using a whole rook to defend a pawn is extravagant. If I push h4, he comes here. I think that it just kind of feels better. Comes here, I can always put... No, he can't come there. Can't come there. His bishop's guarding it. What's your game? Cheeky check time? Cheeky check. King can't go there or there. Huh. This kind of makes sense. Yeah, good spot. That's why he went there, and I just failed to recognise it. Now if I take as well, he reconnects his pawns, and he's in a very strong position. However, is it possible to defend all of this stuff with a bishop? I just don't know. The thing about his rook is his rook can cut off my king. If I let him take, that's just horrible. If I move, I don't have any other threats. I'm going to have to do that. This is now a resignable position, I believe. Bishop here, he's going to attack this. How do I protect my rearmost pawn? No. No, it's now lost. It's now lost and resignable, for sure. Good, I'm going to resign that. I think that was a good game, but let's have a quick look. Right, so that's, playing the game. Was he good sport? Yes, GG, okay. Let's have a quick look at the review. Let's see where I put a foot wrong there. Did I make a mistake at the opening? I think I know what the issues were. 80% I'm quite happy with. 0 blunders I'm happy with. 3 mistakes. Okay, so that's a quick check. So semi-Danish d6. Okay. Queen b3 is the move I know. This is okay. And it says I should have traded here. And something kind of in my mind, yeah, I think I've studied that. But we're still very much equal. And that's a mistake. I simply gave away a pawn there in return for, yeah. So this is the first mistake. I think this is an important thing. I gave away a pawn. Yes, he ended up with double isolated pawns in the middle of the board. And then this is not great. I'm almost -3 now at this point in time. So it's better to come here, target this. Okay, so clumsiness in the opening there. So that was one mistake. So what was the fault in my thinking at this point? Well, I'm just giving away material, and I'm also not developing. Like here it says, knight f3, best move, prepare to castle. It's unprincipled. It's unprincipled to move a pawn another time in the opening phase when you're severely underdeveloped, when your king's not safe, when you're pawn down and there's open lines. That's one. Okay, next mistake. Yeah. And I thought this was also clever. I thought I was winning 2 pawns. But what I should have done, drop the bishop back. Let's see about king here. Does it like that? King b1. Inaccurate. Yeah. No, jolly good move. Or king c2. Even, just pushing the king forward. But at least getting the king on a light square. Stockfish likes that. Remember, I mentioned it and then forgot about it. And what I didn't see was this. So alignment issues can come in all kinds of flavours. And this is one. King there in line. Yes, that's defended. But after this move, it's now not defended. And that's what I should speak to myself. That's what my little mental chatter should say, right? If I take this pawn, so all I thought about was this. Ooh, look, I win a pawn. Ooh, look, I win another one. What I didn't say was, if I move this knight, I'm undefending my bishop. That means that my bishop is vulnerable to a discovery that comes with check. Okay? Now, if I take this knight, does he have a good discovery? Right? After takes and rook takes. Oh, yes, he does. Right? It's there. It's on the board. It's there to be read. Right, what's my other mistake? This. Going to end up losing material. So at this point I'm only a pawn down. Oh, so here it says I should have played rook to there. And then b6. And then bishop takes. Okay, so that way I give up the exchange. He's got to take the rook, obviously, right? I give up the exchange, but in return I completely bugger up his pawns. So I'm down here a bishop for a rook, and I'm a pawn down, but look, he's got 4 pawn islands here. I didn't think that one through. Okay, good lessons. All good lessons. But you can see how, you know, the real learning and the real improvement in the chess comes from the analysis. And you can see also how I'm only focusing on my worst moves in the game, because a lot of them were good. I made a lot of decent moves, right? But your improvement comes from the edge of your knowledge, the edge of your perception, the edge of your, you know, ability and experience. But yeah, very interesting. Some key lessons there, and they've gone in, and that's it. So good game, enjoyed that. It really is better to play these longer formats. So yeah, hope you get value as well. Just remains for me to say thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Chess Bootcamp if you haven't subscribed, and if you fancy improving and training in a social setting, we run 4 or 5 sessions, live sessions a week for an hour to an hour and a half. They're all on Zoom. You can join from anywhere in the world, and go to chessbootcamp.club to see what the timings are and if that works for where you are in the world in your schedule. Come along and join us. $49 a month for hours and hours and hours every week. So it's, you know, much better value than getting one-to-one lessons, and much more fun than studying on your own. So thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.